you can use Evernote to help you stay productive and continue to work on projects that take a long time sometimes. For example, research on our screen here, we're at school and we're going to write a research paper on the Battle of the Bulge. And so I'm going to walk you through today how to organize your thoughts easily within Evernote. One, that's the first thing. And then the second thing, how can I take advantage of all of the devices that I may use during my research and be able to keep that information current without having to constantly carry around a notebook or think about, well, now what did I read there? All of that. So stay tuned and we're going to talk through this. So the first thing is we have this sitting in a space within Evernote. So we're using Evernote and we have it within an Evernote space. And there's another video that is on my channel here about Evernote spaces. So I would suggest looking that up. So here we're just going to go to research, and today we're going to research. We have a little notebook set up here, and we're going to research Battle of the Bulge. Now we can add a new notebook to the space. Again, see that other video, and then within this we can go ahead and create a new note if we want, right? So right here, just by clicking on note, we can create a new note. Okay, so whatever your research project is, you can go ahead and create it. But here we got the Battle of the Bulge. So this is where we're at. All right. Now, as we're thinking to create our research, the first thing we need to do to understand what the Battle of the Bulge is we need to ask ourselves the questions that are going on in our minds. And this is a great place to start your research. Just think about the Battle of the Bulge. Maybe you've heard a few things, and you'll have more questions as you do your research, but start coming up with your personal questions. Remember, writing a paper is not about copying what somebody else had as their questions. Writing the paper really is coming up with what you're wondering about the Battle of the Bulge, and then putting the research and time in to understanding what all that means and answering those questions, and then organizing that in a format that others can ingest it. Those are the best papers. So this is a way to do that. We just write down our questions. So we've written down 2 here. We've written down, and let's say we have another one, research the post-battle impact. Let's say, for example, we write that out. These are just questions that I'm getting. Now, for our questions, so we've got all our questions. Now we need to get it organized within our research paper. And so here within Evernote, we're going to do just a couple things. One, I do them as bold, and I set them right here to small header. And I'm going to show you why in a moment. In addition, I highlight it. I go here to color, and I turn it red. Red are always my questions. But notice here I have a little less than, greater than sign there. I don't have it here. So we're going to make one in a minute. So here, let's look at our first question, which is, why was the Battle of the Bulge important in World War II? Boom. Now, for this one, I used the internet, Gemini, to gather this information for me. And then my thoughts were here. Okay, so I could put in something like my thoughts, just so that I can separate it. Maybe I bold it and turn it into a different color, just something so that it's easily identifiable. And so as I'm reading through this, I'm reading through the stuff that I use Gemini to get. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. And here are my thoughts. Now, these thoughts really need to be under paper content, which you can see here. The hook, background, and I can again turn those into whatever color I want, which is helpful visually as you're looking at it on your different devices so that you don't kind of get lost in the data. All right, so here I've kind of read through this first thing, why was it important, and then I've started to create my thesis. Now, the next thing I'm going to put down here is paper content, right? And so I can begin to draft up what my ideas are or the body of my paper itself. And I do that as I'm reading through all of this information, right? So I've read through all of this, and I've said, okay, yeah, that's great. Here's some of my thoughts, and oh, I don't know what how this what the post-battle consequences were. I want some more information. I got a little teaser here, but I want more information. So when I want more information, I just put it down here as another question: research bulge post-battle impact. Now, we should probably put battle of the bulge. Okay, so here I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to go to whatever tool I'm using. In this case, I'm going to use Gemini, and I could just say, we'll just do it just like it says there. Okay, so here it's going to give me some more information on that topic. As I'm collecting my research information, I'm not really reading through the information per se. What I'm doing at this point is I'm just copying, and pasting that information into Evernote so that I can later kind of ingest what that information is going to be. So I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to go over to Evernote. I'm going to hit paste, and there it is right there. And sometimes I just sit and clean it up when I'm not doing anything else, right? So here are some of those things that I can read through. Now notice that I get that less than or greater than. Now notice that I can look at all of these areas and do my research and then add to my paper content here as I'm kind of looking at all this information, and I can develop my paper. And that's about it. One last thing I just wanted to close on was that artificial intelligence or large language models like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it is, Copilot that you're using, these are tools to help with your research, very similar to using a browser to help with your research or going to the library and looking things up in encyclopedias. All of this information should be stored within your research area within Evernote so that you can have all of the stuff that you're looking through, right? You could say encyclopedia, ABC gave me this data, right? And then, even when you're working through the paper, you could say, hey, I want to strike through this information. I cannot remember. It's a formatting thing. Let me see if I can see it right here. Nope. There's a strike through or underline. There it is right there, strike through. So that means that, hey, I already read this information, or I read this information. I'm good. I've already got what I want out of it. And this is information I need to still read. And the reason why you do this is so that when you collect your thoughts here and then you take your thoughts from that reading and kind of combine it to your paper content, now you've got everything in one place. And I can literally stand somewhere waiting for a train or waiting for something to occur and spend 5 or 10 minutes reading through some of these bullets that I did in my research and coming up with some of my own thoughts that eventually fill into my paper content. And being able to separate everything like this using these header tabs to pull up and constrict data, now I can look at all of it as one, or I just pull everything back in to the research, and I can easily kind of see what my main questions are in my paper. It just makes it a little more manageable. So good luck.